Oh, hello. Welcome to revisiting my Madonna collection because things have been added since the last one I did like 3 or 4 years ago. And this is the 1990s. This is everything I have in my Madonna collection from the 90s. Go figure. So, thanks for your comments on the last video. As normal, feel free to leave me some comments after this one. Tell me what I'm missing in my 90s. I'm missing a lot of 12s, there's a lot I don't have, but I still feel like I have a fairly decent Madonna collection. All the studio albums. So, one thing I missed in the 80s though, because of the sleeve and it kind of just, but I feel like I need to mention it. I do have this 45 for Crazy For You. What is great about this is this, my very first friend, this is the senior prom of 1987. Not mine, but my beautiful friend Christy, that was my very first friend when I moved to Seattle in 1997. She had like 8 of these, and so she gave me one. This has Crazy For You, of course, but it does have Gambler as the B-side. I'm a gambler. So I missed that from the 80s. I just did want to mention that I had this, and I think it's so great. I don't think it says where. She went to school in Orange County, I think, in California. What was the name of the town? I don't remember, but yeah, if she sees this, she can put it in the comments. But yeah, I will hold on to this forever. I didn't go to this prom, but it's special because it was Christy's and from her prom, so it's part of her history. So now it's become a part of my history. So had to share that. Can't believe I forgot about that when I did the 80s. So the first thing that came out, I believe in 1990, is Madonna's I'm Breathless. I do want to point out, people say this is not a studio album, this is a soundtrack. It is a studio album, people, okay? It is not the soundtrack for Dick Tracy. If you actually look at the actual soundtrack for Dick Tracy, there's actually no Madonna songs on it. Now, yes, she sang in the movie, Sooner or Later, I think More. I'm Going Bananas maybe was in it. I don't remember. There were maybe 3 songs on this that are in the movie. What it says right here, well, it does say music from. There is a, like I said, there's a, but it's really not. Music from is not a soundtrack. Inspired by the film Dick Tracy. Really bothered me. So kind of a soundtrack, but not really, because there's 3 songs, maybe. Maybe What Can You Lose? I don't know, maybe 4. There's not a lot, but I remember when I got this. So we had this little, like, kind of like craft store, not really, like, they had like, what are those stores called? Not a supermarket, but they had like, you know, like you could get your material and yarn and household items and not a convenience store. Y'all know what I'm talking about, okay? I'm just not gonna go in 8 hours trying to remember what the hell those stores are called, but anyways, they had in the front, it was called Cornet. Cornets don't exist anymore. Later they transferred to an Alco. It's completely gone now, and part of that area is a pharmacy now. So that was in my hometown, but when you walked in, there was a big cabinet that had like the latest cassette tapes that were available. Because like I've said, there was really no record stores or music stores or anything like that. I had to rely on things like that and gas stations that gave you the bootleg tapes, and you know, driving 15 minutes to Walmart and hoping that they might have something that I want. So excited. New Madonna record, Like a Prayer, was so great, and I'm excited to get I'm Breathless. had not seen Dick Tracy at that point, so I really didn't know that it was inspired by the 40s and the 50s and that type of music. It has Vogue on it, so this is what I'm thinking I'm getting. I'm thinking I'm getting an album that's like the song Vogue, which closes out the album. It's not what I got. So I was actually very disappointed when I got the cassette tape, and it kind of just sat there. I listened to it once, and then I would just rewind Vogue. I'd go to the second side, rewind Vogue, just play Vogue over and over and over again, and that was pretty much the gist of this. It is very difficult to read this shit. Let's look at the record, because that's easier. This album has been reissued. I know there's a yellow pressing that maybe one day I'd like to get. But, you know, this is my original 1990 pressing. It starts off with He's a Man. Then you've got Sooner or Later, which was Oscar nominated. I believe did it win? No, I think it was just nominated. If I'm wrong, you know, remember, I'm old. I forget this shit. So I try to keep that memory and shit up in my head, but there's a lot up here. A lot of meaningless bullshit up in this brain of mine. Hanky Panky, why don't you just spank me? What about Dick Tracy? Dick, that's an interesting name. My bottom hurts just thinking about it. Cause it does. Let's see, you got Cry Baby, I'm Going Bananas, which is kind of dumb. Something to Remember, Back in Business, Who Could Have, you know, More, Give Me More, What Can You Lose, Now I'm Following You, Part 1 and 2, also has the line, Dick, that's an interesting name. And then it ends with Vogue. So it took me several years. I want to say that this might have even been late 90s, early 2000s when I decided to go back and revisit this album. And that's when I was really getting into a lot of the music that my mother listened to. And so because it was inspired by the 40s and 50s, I grew a completely different appreciation for it. And I actually love this, and this is, I want to say one of my favorite albums, but I have a completely different appreciation for I'm Breathless than I did. Wow, we just talked 7 minutes about I'm Breathless. So, one and only single, well actually no, Hanky Panky was also released as a single. There's some remixes of it. One day I'd like to get the 12 for that, because it's got some interesting remixes of it. But here is Vogue. Strike a Pose, there's nothing to it. I love the Shep Pettibone version. You've got a Junior Vasquez on here. There is no, there's the Betty Davis dub. There is really nothing. Also have the Strike a Pose dub. Look at that, I paid $3.22 for that. You're not gonna find a Madonna 12 for that anymore. Anyways, Vogue. There's nothing to it. Greta Garbo, Marilyn Monroe, Dietrich and DiMaggio on the cover of a magazine. Grace Kelly, Harlow G. Okay, anyway, so when I bought this, I did not know that it was a boot. This is the Immaculate Collection. This was a big deal when this came out in 90 as well. Yeah, 1990. So picture disc here. This has, I think each track is probably missing a minute to 30 seconds to a minute off of each one. It actually says on here that Rescue Me is on it. Rescue Me is not. It ends with Justify My Love. But I'm always gonna keep this. I've had this for many years, but I mean, this was gathering all of the Madonna singles that were big at the time. So, you know, it starts off with Lucky Star, I believe. Oh, Holiday. We'll go more into it because I'll show you what I have next. So that is my beautiful bootleg. I don't even know where the hell this came from. It tricks you. It makes you think it's real. It's not. I didn't know that until I did it in the Discogs. What the hell is in that? All right, there's like shit in the sleeve. All right, then we have the actual, this is the double vinyl of Immaculate Collection. with the entire track listing and I believe the songs. I mean, they're all the single edits, but I don't know what's in this. It might be a different sleeve. That was bothering me. You're welcome. See the things that just whatever. Make me just go, what? And I'm having a bad hair day. Okay, so Holiday, Lucky Star, Borderline, Like a Virgin, Material Girl. It does, you know, Crazy for You, Into the Groove. It does not have Gambler on it. There's 2 new tracks on this album, and it ends with Justify My Love and Rescue Me. When I was speaking of Vogue earlier, this was a way to have Vogue. So when this came out, I'm pretty sure I also had this on cassette. Like I said, this is a 2-album set. This way I could listen to Vogue and not have to listen to the rest of I'm Breathless. So first single off of this compilation is Justify My Love. I just recently added this to the collection. I've mentioned this is one of my favorite single covers. I don't know why I love this picture so much. I just think it's so great. This has the Beast Within mix of Justify My Love that I absolutely love. I mean, look how these pictures to me are just iconic. I hate using the word iconic, but when you have a career like hers, there's really no other word to describe her or to describe some of the photographs that have been taken of her. And this is just brilliant. I love the cigarette hanging out of her mouth, the leather daddy outfit that she's wearing. It's just brilliant. This also has a really good remix of Express Yourself. It's a Shep Pettibone mix. First, I think video single ever was Justify My Love because it was banned from MTV and you could not, I think they might have aired it once after midnight. I could be completely wrong about that, but I believe that's the case. And maybe that was later that they did that. I know they did that with Erotica because I stayed up. I guess I can wait for that though. Anyways, that was a big seller too, and I know that like renting, I can't remember where I got it. I used to have the video single, or the video, not single, the video cassette single, VCR single. I don't know what they called them, but anyways. I have the 45 for Rescue Me, and it just has the same song on both sides. And then we have the 12 for Rescue Me, which has 4 mixes of Rescue Me on. Rescue me, it's hard to believe I'm drowning. This is also a bootleg, but it is really cool. This is Madonna Live. This is the Blonde Ambition tour, the best tour that she ever did. Girly Show was really good too, but considering that this is a bootleg, this actually sounds pretty decent on gold vinyl. This has the entire show. Express Yourself, all the different versions that she did. I could have done without the like the costume change part where they just played Now I'm Following You. I believe the dancers danced or something like that while she was changing. I haven't watched the whole concert in a very long time. I've seen clips. You know, ends with the Holiday, Do the Bus Stop. Woo, woo, and then Keep It Together in the Family is how we end it. But yeah, just a good retrospect of her career at that point. So in 1992 is when she's like, I'm just gonna be me, and if that part of me is being a hoe, then okay. And we released Erotica. She also released the Sex Book. I have that CD that came with the Sex Book. I had the Sex Book. It disappeared a long time ago. I'd like to get a copy of it again, but it's hard to find a nice copy of it. It's kind of smut, but I still want it. So Erotica, 1992. Interesting fact, there's a band called the Darling Buds that released an album called Erotica. I think they actually came out the same month, if I'm remembering. So my name is Deetra. My name is Deetra. I'll be your mistress tonight. Dita. My name is My name is Dita. Good shit. Okay. her corny cover of Fever, Bye Bye Baby, Deeper and Deeper, great disco dance cut. The video is great with, she's got the blonde afro and the disco ball and everybody's just at the club, just working it out, having a groovy time. Bad Girl, Drunk by 6, Smoked Too Many Cigarettes Today, I'm Not Happy When I Act This Way. That has been my theme song since 1992 because I wasn't drunk by 6 at that time. I don't even think I'd had a sip of alcohol at that point. I would have been, what, 19? So, Thief of Hearts, Bitch, Words, Why Is It So Hard? There's this track called Did You Do It, which is just some rappers. It wasn't on my original CD. It was later like a bonus track or whatever, but it is on the album version. This is a reissue. I don't know from when. It just says 92 on it, but. Why is it so hard to love? Rain, feel it on my fingertips. Oh, so good. This is a fantastic album. It was my favorite for a long time. It was like a Virgin prior to this, and this album came out and beat that out. But then this one came out and just blew Erotica out of the water. Probably still my favorite album of hers, Bedtime Stories. It's got that R&B feel to it. Babyface produced a lot of it. I don't know that it aged well, but because it was so nostalgic to me and so just special, like I want to say, I know I drove to Phoenix to get this album. So I drove the 3.5 hours on release day to buy the Bedtime Story CD. This is my original UK 1994 pressing of this. It was for the longest time the one that I was missing because there were no reissues. I had searched and searched and searched, and I paid a pretty penny for this, probably more than I should have, because not 3, 4, 5 years later, they reissued it. And so this is my play copy. I do not play the original because I can't. So I just don't want it to get messed up. And it was released. So it starts with Survival. This has got a song, I'd Rather Be Your Lover with Michelle and De La Chego, who I absolutely adore. I think, did Lenny Kravitz do stuff on this? I can't remember. And I'm not sorry, it's human nature. I'm not your bitch, so hang your shit on me. Take a Bow. I love Sanctuary. I love this entire record. I mean, the first single, Secret, which was so different. It had that acoustic, you know, it was that dancey, but this acoustic. There's a Junior Vasquez, I think it's Junior Vasquez mix of that song. It was just fantastic. Forbidden Love. She later have another song called Forbidden Love, I think. So yeah, I think it's always gonna be my favorite. I'm gonna listen to them all again in order and see if that changes. Then this compilation was released in 1995, I believe. Or was it 6? 1995, so we have Something to Remember, which is the song off of I'm Breathless. This is just collecting a bunch of her love songs, and it has kind of like the sequel to Take a Bow called You'll See. It has, there was the Just Say Row compilation that came out at the time. It had her cover of Marvin Gaye, right? I think it's Marvin Gaye. Or is it the other guy? I don't know. I Want You, that she did with Massive Attack. It has I'll Remember from With Honors, This Used to Be My Playground, Crazy for You, Love Don't Live Here Anymore, which is a new mix of it, which I really like the remix that's on this. Almost better than the version that's on Like a Virgin. It's got Forbidden Love, does have One More Chance, which is another track, and then there's an orchestral version of I Want You. So it opens and closes with I Want You. It's just a really good, you know, romantic, but what I love about this is that I have, you know, I'll Remember from With Honors, and This Used to Be My Playground from League of Their Own, Live to Tell, One More Chance is good. It's also got that acoustic feel to it like we saw on Secret. And the last thing that came out in the 90s, and so we had a 4-year break, but really we had a 5-year since an album. We got, you know, some singles and some soundtrack tracks, but this dropped. And what a huge, like, difference between Bedtime Stories and Ray of Light. I think this is probably a lot of people's favorite albums of hers. I get shit when I say it's not my favorite. It's not. But is it good? Yeah. It's fantastic. There's some really, really great moments on here. You start, you know, with, I mean, you've got William Orbit is doing most of this with her. So 1998, I was in Seattle by that time. I had the fancy, like, fancy CD case, and it was so grand. I don't have that anymore. But this opens up with Drowned World, Substitute for Love. That's up there in one of my favorite Madonna tracks that there is. Swim, you know, Ray of Light, which was a cover. I don't remember who did the original version, and I believe it was a different name, if I'm not mistaken. Skin, put your hands on my skin. Power of Goodbye. Oh, Shante. She was in her, you know, yoga chanting stuff at that time. Frozen was the first single off of this. Have and Not to Hold. Little Star, which is the song she wrote for Lourdes. Wow, she's so old now, that child of hers. All her kids are. But yeah, it's a good way to close out the 90s for Madonna. We did, I believe, the Austin Powers might have been 99, so you would have had, or that would have been 2000, maybe. I think it was 99 though, so the Austin Powers that had a Beautiful Stranger on it, and that probably would have been about the last single that we saw from Madonna in the 90s. So there you have it. This is my Madonna collection of the 90s. Stay tuned for the rest. I mean, 2000 to current is going to be the rest. That's going to be the next video, because there's not a ton. She hasn't released a lot, so I keep thinking these are going to be shorter videos, but apparently it's not, because I have a lot to say about Madonna. Like I mentioned before, I started listening to her pretty much from the beginning, about 84, and I've loved her and have followed her entire career and have been a true Madonna fan, a true blue Madonna fan, more than half of my life. So yeah, I would have been 10 or 11 when I first started really discovering who she was. So thank you for watching. Like I said, leave me some comments, like and subscribe, because I never say that. I really don't. I'm not that guy. But hopefully this series is somewhat enjoyable, and thanking you.